Welcome to Conversations with Sarah. I'm Sarah Reddan, creator of the SRTT Self-Care Club. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to be notified of new episodes. Today, I'm joined by Ali from Wildflowers Healing, who's one of my early guests on season 1. And we're going to have a conversation today about the relationship with self. Welcome, Ali. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me again.
It's great to speak to you again. Like you came along on one of my very early episodes. Neither of us kind of knew what we were doing, but I had a great time listening to you. And we've kept in touch. And I've been watching your business grow. It's been wonderful to see. But for people that don't know you, because many people won't, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I started Wildflowers Healing, and I am just guessing now because I think it's about a year and a half ago officially. Just sort of midway through COVID, I guess. And the business is all about energy healing as a form of self-care, really, as a way to navigate through the ups and downs of this life, as a way to support healers, because I'm a massive advocate for healing the healer. I know how much we need it. I know how much everybody needs it, but healers rarely take time to get themselves healed, and I think it's really, really important. So I have a little side shop. I make my own herbal and aromatherapy items just for energy cleansing as well. And yeah, that's kind of what I do. It's all about good vibes, good energy, and getting the energy moving in the body so we're not stuck in traumatic states, hard states, when we can kind of just cleanse, release it, and move it.
Yeah. And I've shared before, I'm really into all of what we call the woo. I love it. And I do energy healing myself. And I love the way you incorporate sort of all the aromatherapy in your little like medicine bags and your herbs and things. I love seeing it all. But today we're going to talk a little bit where you're going to share with us about the relationship with self. So I guess the first question would be, what do you mean when you talk about a relationship?
I know. It sounds so formal, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I guess the journey that I have been on lately, and I would say it's probably been really the best part of a year, is I've been in a state of reaction and doubt and fear and all of these things that have kind of been brought on by being in a mass pandemic. I've got a counsellor friend who's actually doing a massive research project on this, because the amount of people that have had mental health related issues because of the pandemic, not necessarily because they've had people that they've lost, but the whole phase and change in the world is just really affecting people in so many different ways.
Absolutely.
And I guess the way that it's been showing up for me is, as a small business, I've gone into overthinking. I've gone into like negative and comparison, imposter syndrome, anxiety, overworking, overthinking about working. It's been this massive like, and I've kind of found myself having to come back to me and nurture my relationship with who I am and how I perceive the world, and how things that have happened in my life cause me to view the world through a particular lens. And it's made me go deep. I am a go deeper anyway, I can't help it, but I just think it's something that I feel that is really important to talk about. Because as well as becoming more spiritually aware, getting into the woo-woo, learning about all of this wonderful stuff that it can't be scientifically proven but only felt and experienced, whilst it awakens parts of us that have never been awake before, and it brings so much wonderful stuff, it also really highlights the negative and the things that aren't fair, and the judgmental state that a lot of people seem to go to first, that can cause a lot of hardship for other people experiencing the judgment. That kind, am I making sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like there's a few things. I've tried to sit really quietly because I'm a bit like, oh, I want to jump on that, but I wanted to listen to you first. So absolutely, I'm going to go back to the pandemic bit. Absolutely, like from my perspective, so many people just had to stop. So they couldn't do all of the busy stuff that they do to avoid having to connect with emotions, avoid having to kind of take that moment to look at life, and is life exactly how you want it to be? Because we're busy and we're rushing and we're always doing and we're we don't ever have to pause and kind of go, am I happy? Do I enjoy this? Do I like these people around me? Am I get fulfilled with the things that I'm doing in life? Because you're just so busy and you're in this heightened stress state, like you just live on adrenaline, and you're doing and you're doing and you're doing, and you don't ever have to really just be with yourself, who you are. So for people that then had to completely stop everything that's ever been pushed down is wanting to come up, and if you live with other people, whether romantically or platonically, they're also dealing with their stuff, and there's no services at this point that anyone can access. It's like, okay, I got some stuff I need to unpack. How do I do this? Like, I'm so used to just not communicating, and now I'm realizing there's this stuff. I don't know how to talk about it. I don't know where to talk about it. I don't know who to talk about it. I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know how to think about it. And it just became a lot. And then we still don't have those services. Those things aren't available for people. And we've taken time and maybe shifted and gone, oh, actually, I really enjoy this, or I really enjoy that. And then I had to shove ourselves back into a life that wasn't necessarily ticking the boxes and fulfilling the things that we've got to do. So people have gone through these journeys and then are now back to, you've got to go to your office every day, you've got to do this, you've got to do that.
Go back to the life that you have now experienced, you don't actually want to be in, because it's too much. And
somehow, because society tells us that we should want to work 50 hours a week, and then we should want to do this, and we should want to go to the pub at the weekend, and we should want to do everything for everybody, and we should want to do this, and we should want to do that. But there's this massive conflict between what your inner self is knowing is in your greater good, and the message from society of this is what we expect from you. There's this conflict. It's like, how do you be
and it breeds
in a world that wants you to do?
It breeds doubt, which breeds fear. So then we are constantly fearful of our next steps, choices, and our next steps, which colors how we view what we know is right to do.
And it's and that's the thing, isn't it, that if you've the relationship with self is ever changing, isn't it? And it's like this, it can be shaky if you haven't got a strong sense. If you haven't got a strong sense of who you are and what your values are and what's important to you and what fulfills your soul, it gets difficult to hear what's right for you with all of the noise
based on who you're around, your upbringing, the role models that you've had, whether they've encouraged you to be yourself or you've been put down for it. Because I've come across a lot of people that are undiagnosed or diagnosed ADHD who have actually, unbeknownst, really been through a lot of suffering just by being told you do this the wrong way, because they're not fully understood for all the different ways that they behave compared to everybody else. So and it brings a lot of suffering. Stepping out your comfort zone brings suffering. It's the shadow side of opening spiritually, and I don't like to use the word spiritually, but I literally don't have another word for it. But I think it just holds, I don't think it's specific enough, but I think like being kind to yourself regularly is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. It's one of the first things we should do when we start to feel off. And I think we have a tendency to kind of go through like 3 different ways of thinking, and 2 of them we sit in the most. And the first one is like worry talk, which is what it's usually our go-to. It's like we've had this idea, or we've had this altercation with somebody, or we've had this conflict or whatever, and straight away it's the worry, the self-blame, or the blame on the other person. And then you have the false comfort. So it's what we then say to ourselves, like, oh, don't worry. So if I give an example of like forgetting to lock your house when you leave. So your worry talk is not having confidence in the fact that you've locked the front door. And then your false confidence would be, yes, you did lock the door. You always lock the door. Don't be silly. Which adds to the anxiety of thinking about a situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So even though we like to comfort ourselves with positive statements, I think they're counterproductive. So then you have the wisdom that comes in, which is the good thing, and the wisdom would be, like, go back. Do you remember actually doing it, or are you worrying about remembering that you've done it, for example? And that's the piece that comes in, and that is the statements that go, right, okay, let's fix this. Let's just go and try the door again if you really feel that uncomfortable with it, because you're resolving your conflict. But we sit in the worry talk and the false confidence a lot, and it really messes up our energy field, and it can really leave us in a really uncomfortable state for the rest of the day, even sometimes. And it works the same with every scenario that we go through, because we're constantly being influenced by stuff all the time. Like our energy fields are constantly like to and fro, and we're taking energy and we're giving energy, and we'll go into a shopping center and you are like face to face with 500 other energies. I know that's an exaggeration, there's never that many people in Tesco's at one time, but you know what I mean. And since recently I found going food shopping is really overwhelming, and I have never had that before. I think more because I'm really getting to understand energy and how that feels. I can go for a food shop and feel really sick and dizzy, and it's so weird.
It's really interesting.
I'm off on a tangent again.
No, this is perfect. Tangent is what we're all about. Wherever we go is where we go.
Yeah,
and hopefully the listener follows along, and I really do kind of believe that people listening will hear what they need to hear, because if not, they would have switched off by now. So if they're still here, it makes sense to them, and it feels good. So I won't worry about it. But no, I agree with you. I think because I was one of the people that myself and my husband were both in close contact work. So that meant for lockdowns, it meant we couldn't work, we couldn't do our jobs, we couldn't interact with our clients and do the things that we normally did. I pivoted my business to be completely online. He wrote books, so we still found like our creative outlets. But it also meant we had a lot of time where it was just the 2 of us. And I know we were really lucky that for us, lockdown was living our best life. We had really like good quality time, and relaxed and really did things that we enjoyed doing. But what I notice now for me, when I go places and I do things, I am over sensitized by everything, because I've almost been able to be in my own energy field, to use like the way that you're talking, like I've been able to just be in my own space and be able to be fully in control of like my environment and what was coming into my sight, what was coming into my hearing, what emotional relationship I was having when I communicated, and all of those things. And then now when I have to go out and do things, there's noise, there's lights, there's smells, there's all of these things, which before then I would have moments of being overstimulated and kind of need to be like, no, I need to go home because actually this is just a lot. This is a lot. I've had enough. You know, generally that would be like I've got a headache or my stomach hurts, or, you know, some kind of physical thing would come up for me. But now I do, it's that, oh, I don't want to deal with all of this.
Yeah. It's like this is
no,
what me feels like.
Yeah.
You've learned this is what me feels like. So now everything else is not you.
Yeah.
And so you can feel it coming at you.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been very sensitive to like other people's energies and things anyway, but it's even more heightened my awareness now because I didn't have that sensory input.
Yeah.
Now I really recognize, and I've got skills and strategies. Obviously, I have to occasionally go shopping. I am the lady that walks around with the shopping trolley singing to herself so that I've got some, you know, or humming, or I make it this really mindful practice. So there may be 500 people in the shop, but I'm very just focused on what it is that I'm doing, and kind of, you know, trying to make it almost like a meditation as I'm walking around, because I feel that it's really helpful and it makes it a pleasurable, enjoyable experience. Because I make that choice. There are times when it is too much and I choose to leave. I'll just get a quick shop and go. And other times I want to have a look around. I love walking around supermarkets and looking at stuff and like what new products are there and all of that stuff. I am one of those people that used to love that. And sometimes I like to be in that space. It's kind of when you know who you are and you know what is good for you, it can help, can't it? Being able to kind of connect into spaces that are going to support you through when things are a little bit stressful. There's a lot of input going on.
Yeah. And that's a prime example of the relationship with the self, because you've been mindful of how you feel, what's going on sensorily for you, and you've acted in your best interest. So it's a prime example of having a positive relationship with yourself.
So what other things would you be encouraging people to kind of be mindful of, and sort of how to kind of incorporate this awareness?
So that leads us nicely onto mindfulness. Because every single experience we have is an opportunity for growth, even though it doesn't feel like it in the moment. And it has to be gentle, because if we don't take it gently, we become overwhelmed and we do overthink it and we overdo and we follow all of these self-care influencers, and we get so overwhelmed with all this knowledge, or this is a way to self-care, that's a way to self-care. And self-care really is so personal.
I completely agree.
It can be binging Netflix. There is nothing wrong with it if it relaxes you and brings you back down. If you're watching something that's really intense and you're like, whoa, you know, maybe it's not positive self-care, but it's still self-care. It just might not be positive. But like mindfulness is our basic human ability to be present and aware of what's going on within the body. So like I said, everybody is different. It's something we all naturally possess. We do it without even realizing. We make cups of tea as a form of de-stressing. Everybody goes straight for the kettle when they've had a hard day. First thing in the morning, straight down to the kettle. It's a massive way to de-stress and set yourself up for the day. So like when you become aware that you're doing that, if you notice the direction you're stirring your tea, for example, can tell you so much about whether you're on a positive or negative mindset. So if we go back to like the witchy days, like our teapots, our cups are our cauldrons. we have to be careful what we're doing when we're stirring, what the direction we're stirring it, because like clockwise is positive and flowing energy, anti-clockwise is negative. And that could be that we're looking to release negativity, or it's showing us that our mindset is more to the negative side as opposed to the positive. And it really, it's a massive sign of how just a way to check in just by doing that. Like we have showers to de-stress, not to wash. This, you know, water is ridiculously healing, and we've all got this innate ability to really connect with water. You know, what is it, 70% water in the human body? We've got this huge elemental connection to it, regardless of whether we're aware of it or not. So, and we do use it, like going to the seaside, going to the beach. It's the minute you think of it, you feel better, slightly, not completely.
Oh yeah, I mean, I agree completely. I mean, the two things that you've talked about are both sort of mindful practices that I encourage my clients to do.
Yeah. And
because
you do it anyway, don't you?
Yeah,
without even thinking, you're already on it. So
it's such an easy way to incorporate self-care into your day, because it's habits you already have.
Yes.
Just doing them mindfully, you're doing them with intent, you're doing them with awareness, you're doing them in a way that is nourishing, as opposed to, like, you know, just rushing around. Oh, I've got to rush around and make my coffee, I've got to quickly have a shower. You can have that 5-minute shower, but if you can come at it with that energy of, I get to have my 5-minute shower, I get to do this, while you're there, being aware of your body, being aware of the water, being able to, because it's not, for me, or the way I look at it, it's not about making your mind completely devoid of thought. It's
not just possible, is it?
Yeah, it's just not adding the story that goes along with the thought. It's being able to be like in that moment and use that water and feel that water and know the temperature. And if your mind starts thinking about this, that, and the other, the bills, the this, it's like, okay, I know the bills need to be done. This is my 5 minutes. I'm taking
right
it.
Now they don't. Yeah. It's just taking that space to go, right now, I've got nothing else to do and nowhere else to be but here. And I think that's what we have to remind ourselves, because I get, like, during school, during education, it was show up on time, don't be late, do this way in order to get praise. And I think down the line, it causes us to look elsewhere for all of the security and safety and groundedness that we provide ourselves, without the need to be told that, you know, that was right, this was okay. And I think it's just cultivating that awareness that there's so much that you do that I don't do, that because that's your self-care habit. So much. But once you recognize your habits, you can see the negative ones, because we do all have them. We've conditioned ourselves in a way. It's like our go-to habit, and sometimes those habits can be negative, because once they served you to protect you in some shape or form, you've developed this habit because it protects you. But later down the line, it's just still your go-to habit, and it causes problems as opposed to protecting you in the moment. And it takes 21 days to form a habit, to have something habitually. So it's very, very easy to make self-care and mindfulness a habit. As long as you stick to it for 21 days, it will be in your routine by then. It will be a habitual way of thinking. And that's a fact, 21 days. And then we've got mental habits. So I think getting to know the way your go-to mindset, because I very much go to lack first before I go to what went well. And I know that's a negative mental habit that I have, that I'm trying to work through. Like, it's never as easy as, oh, mindfulness, ta-da.
Yeah, everything's great all the time.
It's
And it's
like,
so, I think
this
it's
is
so
hard, you can't
useful
do
to
this.
hear that though from
Yeah,
practitioners, because we often hear like, oh, I'm just positive all of the time, everything's great, and it's like,
just do
we
this,
are
it will
human
work. Yeah,
beings. Like we have thoughts, we have feelings, we have experience. Like the only difference is that when you bring that self-awareness along, it's like, oh, I notice I'm doing that again.
yes,
I know. So it just is about that noticing, and then the difference in the self-talk. So like if you notice that you are going to that negative space, rather than then beating yourself up about it, being able to go, oh, and just catch that thought. Yes, okay,
well done
that
for
pattern's
noticing.
happening. Yeah, and yeah.
Yeah, that's massive. Like that is the energy that is created just by that noticing is the energy you need to push yourself through it. But if we don't recognize, like there's so many of us, I do believe we need other people to help us heal. Like like I'm a massive like believer that women need women, and I'm not discounting men in this regard whatsoever, because my fiance has helped me through loads of stuff. However, there is such a nurturing, positive, deep down understanding atmosphere that you get from working or just developing this relationship with another female who is healing, who is supportive, and who is helpful. And I've totally forgotten about why I'm even saying this. I'm sorry.
That's okay though. It doesn't matter, because we just go with it.
I do believe we need
completely
other
agree
people
with
to
you.
heal. Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, I completely
However,
agree with you.
yeah,
It's important to connect in with professionals when you need them, and like you say, your tribe, your community, having people that are alongside you, spending time with people that are aligned with your morals and your values.
yeah,
Like there's society puts, or my view, this is an opinion, not a fact. Society, you know, being gossipy, being bitchy, being picky at other women's appearances is like kind of the okay way of connecting. Like it's okay, like to do that. Not for me, not in my circle. Like for me, it's I want to be aligned with people who want to lift people up, that want to be able
yeah,
to compliment, want to be able to, like I talked about it before, I believe in aggressively complimenting not only yourself but those
yeah,
around you. If I'm out and I see someone in an outfit that I enjoy, I will tell them that. Sometimes people look at me like I'm not sure, they're not sure what my agenda is. Most of the time it hopefully leaves them feeling good about who they
yeah.
are.
I love to be told stuff like that. So, but then I'm similar. Like I will smile at someone in the street even if they look like they don't want to even catch my eye, and I'm just waiting to go because I just want to impart, like, have a good day. I guess that's what I say in a smile.
Well, I've recently kind of had a shift, because I still go out nightclubbing occasionally, even though I'm in my mid-40s now. I do like a night out with the girls, and I do like a dance. I historically get really quite irritated when people come and interrupt my dancing time. And just me being as I am, often when I'm out and about, people just come and talk to me. I'm usually having lots of fun, and people will come and speak with me. And I've always found that quite irritating. Like I found it quite interruptive of my enjoyment and my space. And I've been reflecting on that recently, because the last couple of times I've gone out, it's like really bothered me, like really bothered me. And I've started to think, well, I can shift the way I feel about that, because clearly I'm having fun. I must have watched a TikTok or something that said about, like, if you want to make friends, I did watch TikTok, I'm remembering. If you want to make friends, go and find the people that are having the most fun on a night out, and
Yeah,
go and say hello. And I'd never
yeah,
really thought about it like that. So now this is not an invitation for everybody to come and say hi to me if you see me out, but I'm much more kind of
dancing.
yeah, don't interrupt the dancing. Come and join the dancing, that's
Yeah.
okay, but don't interrupt the dancing, because I usually am dancing like there is nobody watching. I'm very expressive in the way that I dance. It very much is just me having fun.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'd never thought about it in that way, that it's people looking for connection.
Yeah.
And so now I'm slightly more friendly.
Yeah. They want a
because I
bit
still
of
have
what you're
boundaries, and
offering.
yeah,
Yeah.
I still have, I'm not there to meet friends and make conversation, but I'm much more open to what it is that they're coming from, a place of looking for connection, as opposed to trying to interrupt my fun.
Yeah.
And
And
again, I don't know
you're
why I started that, but
attracting.
it is that kind of this mindset, isn't it? It's the way we look
Yeah,
at stuff, and the lens in which we view our
exactly.
experience. That's what triggered that.
Exactly. Yeah. And don't forget that you are giving off such an amazing vibe that people want a piece of that. You know, you're sending out waves of nothing but happiness, joyfulness, healing, just from dancing, and you will attract people that want a bit of that or need that.
Yeah,
because it's such a high vibrational energy. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't get comments, Sarah, all the time about someone saying that you're sunshine. You bring the sunshine into a room. You bring that. That's lovely. I want to dance with you
we've
now.
gone off on such a tangent now, haven't we? So I don't even know how long we've been talking, because I've got so involved in what we're talking about. So I think we probably are kind of at the end. So is there anything else that you came with that you wanted to share today about sort of relationship with self that we haven't covered?
I did have an entire list of ways to cultivate mindfulness, and I guess there are lots and lots of suggestions on the internet that that you've got your meditation, you've got your mindful breathing, you've got your self-care bath times. There's so many different things, but I guess what I want to the message that I want to send is to have a look at what resonates with you. I've got tons of advice on the subject. I've got a lovely shop of something. If you resonate with it, great. If you don't, that's okay. But also look into your own behaviors. Like, what are you doing to self-soothe? Because I just want to remind you that you've got this. There are things that you do without needing any extra support to support yourself. And I want you to notice that, because we spend a lot of time looking outwards. And when you look inwards, you do realize how you've got this. Your higher self has got this. Your higher self has kicked in. And if you're struggling, just ask yourself what your higher self would do. You'd have the answer like that.
Yeah.
You won't even need to think about it. So I think that's what I'd like to leave you with.
Thank you. And I completely agree with you. One of the things that I say, so I'll start with your shop notes. Your links will be in the show notes, and so people will be able to find them there. But also one of the things that I say is, like, very much like, we've all got this inner voice, we've all got this inner knowing. We just may have forgotten about it. We just may have forgotten to listen to it.
Yeah.
And like you said, the more you tap in with these moments of mindfulness, these moments of space, these moments of not doing, just being, that allows us to really hear our own truths, to really hear our own knowing, to really hear our own needs. And I think that's, for me, the biggest thing about self is allowing yourself space to hear yourself.
Yeah.
But your truth, not what the stuff that everybody else has shoved into your brain. And that may be where people might need a bit of connecting with somebody else who's just a little further down the path,
Yeah.
to help them
Or a
reflect
Reiki
on
healer.
unpick.
Yeah.
But like we all have the capability to heal, and none of us are broken. We just maybe have stopped listening.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
And I do
Thank you so
distance
much.
do distance Reiki healing. So if you do need any help in rebalancing, please pop me a message. I'd love to support you. I'm sure. Do you do distance?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
So Sarah does
Energy
it as well.
healing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
so if you're like, energy for some people, they're like, what? And we probably could do an entire episode on that, because I
Oh
don't know that
God.
it's something that we've really kind of deep dived into. So if you're about energy and you're listening, get in touch with about coming on and talking with me, because
Yes.
I am booking. So thank
Let's
you.
do a few of us.
Pitching everything today. Thank you so much. Thank you for
Yeah,
coming on
thank
and
you for
speaking to me,
having me.
Ellie.
I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Yeah.
And for those that have listened, I hope that you've enjoyed today's episode. To find out more about me and my guest, you can find me on Facebook mostly, but any social media platform as SRTT Self-Care. I would love to connect with you. I am back next Wednesday with a new guest. Until then, stay curious and be kind to yourself.